Considerations of any changes, additions, removal to the agenda? None? Comments from ratepayers?
I'd like to ask if the board's acted on any things that this group has asked for them to do.
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, well, why not?
Such as,
The personnel, the titles, everybody has a title, everybody has a job description, everybody knows what they want to do, or what they have to do, what the responsibilities are, and we went through this.
yeah, so we've kind of put that on hold as they're in the process of joining the union. I think a lot of that's going to be dictated for us. So we haven't done a lot with that. As far as, you know, personnel and everything, wages, we can't go there at this point. Also because of the union thing. So that's just poor timing. But it will get taken care of.
And job descriptions,
Yes. The union is going to tell us what everybody's job description is, are they not? Didn't you belong to a union?
I do not.
Oh, you did not. I'm confusing you with someone else, I'm sorry.
Happens all the time.
So the union will have all the job descriptions and all that stuff when they join. I'm assuming they join. If they don't, then we will do that.
So are all both the people in the field and also the people in the administrative office, are they all planning to join the union?
I don't believe the people in the administrative office are. This is outside, the guys out in the field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jan?
Has it been voted on, yes or no, on the union yet, or no?
Not yet.
Not yet, so it's still in the air.
Yeah, there's a process they have to go through.
And for them to unionize, like, is that because they're not getting support through the company or the board? Is that why we're unionizing, or do we know?
I don't know.
Okay.
And I haven't asked. And I don't have a problem. If they want to join the union, that's good. Smaller electric boards, not Green Mountain.
How does the board feel about that, about the men deciding if they want to go to the union?
I'm okay. That's what they want to do. You know, they're still going to work here. They're still going to do their job, which they've been doing very well. And no complaints. So if they feel they need to join a union, then that's okay. They can join a union.
So basically, by doing the union, it's holding off everything, like as far as pay rate raises. And they'll also like restructure board, superintendent, foreman.
Yeah, we might have to still do some of that, but we'll have to see how that.
I thought on the last meeting you said they were reviewing and redoing the handbook.
We were working on it, yes.
Yeah.
So You are working on it, or you were?
We were.
Are you? It would seem to me that even with the issue regarding the union, that the administrative office, job descriptions, that kind of thing, could continue, because that wouldn't be part of the union negotiation or whatever.
No.
So,
But Tom has everybody's job description in the office. It's
so the
ones-
policy handbook could be completed?
We could, I guess, work on it. I'm not sure, Jim.
Okay.
I've read stuff from other departments, and some of that is dictated, you know, when you go into job descriptions by the union, so.
But not the administrative office. And so
'Cause
that,
he's-
that probably wouldn't, it shouldn't prevent you from working on the handbook.
Well, this is mostly about the outside, right? This handbook? Or does it cover people in the office?
It covers all the employees, but mostly it's geared towards the outside.
But it's all the employees. So, I did go upstairs soon, but Tom did get back to me with the amount of money that had been paid for the mapping system, GSI, but, yeah. And it was a little over $100,000. So my suggestion, or my, just for you folks to consider, is somehow recouping that, maybe from the program for the meter reading program. Just a suggestion, but it's a lot of money that maybe you can recoup that way.
It is.
Does that make sense to anybody?
Yeah, it does.
And I think that the gentleman that was here on the last meeting, I think we brought that up and asked that to him, if there was any way of recouping that for the AIM. What's that?
You said the speaker, Ken Nolan?
Yes. So it was, the question was brought up if we could recoup some of that money from the GIS mapping to the AIM. He said it was something he'd let us know. Is that something we've looked into?
Tom would.
Tom, is that something we've looked into?
I presented that to the board of directors at the last meeting, and I didn't get any answer. They needed to discuss it more. But I
This
tabled-
board?
No, VEPSIS. I tabled it with VEPSIS board.
Could that be on the agenda for your next meeting, next month's meeting?
Agenda to find out what VEPSIS has decided to do.
Well, or what this board's decided to do, and both.
I tabled it with the board of directors at the VEPSIS meeting, the past meeting.
Okay, but this board might want to take some action themselves.
Yeah,
So I'm
sure.
suggesting that it be on the agenda for the next month's meeting.
Sure.
Okay. So that it doesn't get lost and it never gets addressed.
Yeah.
It may get addressed by another branch, but it'll give you an opportunity to address it.
Yeah, because in that last meeting, it was said that we'd be provided with the information for that, the mapping, seeing if the bid was, if there were, well, actually, I guess, let me rephrase that. The last meeting, it was said that we would be able to see the bids that were put out for the AIM and the GIS mapping. There was, how many bids were put out for that?
I think Ken went over that last meeting when he was here.
How many bids we put out on?
I think they started out with, I'm not going to quote what he said last week, the last meeting, but I think he started out with 15 or 16, got it down to a final 3, and picked one of the final 3 to implement it.
Other than the union, what else is the board actively working on as far as restructuring or just trying to address some of, the laundry list here? Is there anything else you're actively working on?
Well, we did start on personnel on the manual. And we tabled it at that point, because we've been busy, but we can get back into that for sure.
Anything on the rate issue? So that per kilowatt, the charge rate, I know you were
Well,
talking about,
we
is
have
that?
to wait on the PUC for that. We don't
Sure.
have control of that.
No, I'm aware, but what's the PUC waiting for? Or is there any update on that?
I can only tell you that they've submitted a rebuttal, and we're waiting on this rebuttal.
Okay.
And I don't know where that's going to end up.
The rebuttals stating,
Some questions they had, and we answered those questions, and now we're waiting for their determination.
okay. You made any new hires?
We have,
Yeah, in the last month?
yep,
Which position?
level entry line person.
Okay.
Yep.
Level entry, meaning third class, first class,
Apprentice.
an apprentice. And that's Calvin?
No,
No,
it's a new person.
new person. Caleb? So, the new hire.
Gabe Miller.
Younger kid, interested in the program and going for certification and stuff.
Real good marks at school and the lineman school. Good candidate.
Anyone that applies is a good candidate.
Is, just to get that, so Gabe Miller, he's a new lineman?
He will be, he hasn't started yet.
He hasn't started yet.
Apprentice.
Um,
He's
he's-
basically going to be a level entry utility person to start with.
Okay. So he's coming in as an apprentice. What's his pay rate versus the other guys? Are we at the same?
Can't disclose that.
Well, there was a request for a copy of the minutes from, I think it was 2021, when you did a structural change, made Tom in charge of both the inside office and the outside office.
Yes, I did.
Do you have a copy of those minutes?
I assume we do, yeah.
Yeah. The office.
You said you were going to get us a copy, or somebody asked.
I think Jean asked for it, and she got it.
Did you get that, Gene?
I thought that was what you asked Kim for the other day.
I asked her for July and August, and in those minutes, I didn't see any verbiage that talked about that.
Okay, my misunderstanding, I thought that's what she was getting. I can get those.
It's kind of what I was looking for, but it wasn't in those 2 months, so it must have been prior to that.
Could be.
So just quickly on the rate of pay, do you have an annual budget that you set? I'm just, because the village of Ludlow, so would that not be public information? The rate of the employees of the village?
Sure.
So you were just saying that you couldn't disclose the entry-level rate of the new employee?
We're still in the process of hiring this person.
Okay, sure.
Okay, I just, at this point, can't divulge that information.
But acknowledging as public information.
Yes,
Okay. And do you set an annual budget every year?
for wages, total wages, yes.
You do? And that's, could we find that anywhere?
Yeah, it's on our financial, our annual budget, yeah.
It's on the website?
I'm not sure if it's on the website, but we can get you a copy of the annual budget.
Yeah, that'd be great.
As far as hiring control, who's in charge of that?
The hiring control?
Tom? That doesn't go through the board, that's just strictly you.
We didn't even know that he hired anybody.
You didn't?
How long ago was he hired?
About a week ago.
I've heard a lot of mention of the union and how that's going to change things and how things move forward, but until we actually, or the guys actually adopt the union, are we still going to move forward on all the things that we're doing now? Or are we just putting everything in a holding pattern until they decide?
I mean, I'm going to look to legal for that before we do anything, because I don't want to jeopardize the department on doing something that we shouldn't be doing because the union's participating.
Because they haven't officially adopted the union, they haven't been accepted yet.
They've filed a
They have the
petition.
intention,
They have
they have
filed
the
a petition.
intention to be with them.
Yes,
So they're not adopted by them yet, so are we still going status quo and moving forward on
we can.
at all? No, because of the union, we have to stop all those things. How long do we anticipate before we
The
figure it
vote?
out?
I don't know.
I have a question for the board. Who's in charge of spending control? And do you guys make the decision, or do we just sign off, yep, okay? Or do we review it and look at the spending?
Yeah, every time they come up with something that they want to buy, then they'll sign off on it.
Like regarding the helmets? No. From what I understand, there was helmets purchased for all the employees, and they're not even electrical rated. Which
They've already been sent back and it's already been worked on.
they've already been sent back and worked on. And then as far as putting winter tires on all the vehicles, we've already had those put on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we went to Tony's service station, which can't give us the municipal discount. So instead of going to the people we priorly used, I don't know who that is.
We've used Tony for years.
Tony can't give us the municipal discount. So we just got the tires put on, I mean, much before any snow is happening. I feel like that's,
They're in all season. They're not just strictly a snow.
they're in all season, okay. However, why wouldn't we go to somebody where we can get the municipal discount versus going to somebody right down the road that cannot provide that for us? Because I was speaking with it.
We've always used them, so that's why.
Always?
Yep.
We have not, Brian.
No, I don't believe we have.
We've used
Not
them.
always used them. We've gone to Pete's Tire in Rutland for tires, because they offer the municipal discount.
So when it comes to like who's in control of the spending, I think maybe it'd behoove you guys to maybe just pay a little attention before signing off on
Yes, we didn't even
whatever.
know that he was even doing that, Shannon.
We didn't?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a decision in-house
We do
versus.
not run the day-to-day operation.
No, I understand that, that's absolutely. However, similar to the cemetery board, I mean, I come in and sign weekly and I look over what our spending, what it is. I think that's something, like if you are gonna sign off on it,
Yeah, that makes total sense.
something to look at,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Do we shop around at all, or no, we just, and I like the idea of using somebody in town, but I mean, shopping around is good. I mean, the bottom number is the money. If we can give it to somebody in town, so much better. But
Yep.
because your side button goes off.
So is there a discretion limit on what can be spent before it has to come before the board? As an example, town manager, like you have a liberty of spending up to 2,000 or 3,000, something like that. 5. And then anything above that has to go to the select board. Is there that discretionary
I don't
limit?
know that answer.
You don't know?
I don't. Tom, do you know the answer?
I know any big ticket items they bring to us with,
Well, that's the point of it.
yeah,
Anything over a certain
yeah,
amount.
but I don't know what that is in the light department.
Yeah, I like the idea, Shannon, of maybe doing a weekly, come in and see what they spend in a week.
How often do you guys sign off? Once a month or?
I don't know.
Never had.
It seems to me that that might be something that might be in the policy and procedures handbook, which is something you could work on, because that wouldn't have anything to do with the union. And when you say you decided to table that conversation or that work, I'm just kind of curious how that happens. There's nothing in the minutes that says this was tabled or that there was even a motion. And I know it's hard, I know it's a lot of work, but that handbook is going to be very helpful to you, to the employees, and to some of us here that ask questions, and you can refer people to the handbook. So I would encourage you to work on it, or however you want to do it. You could delegate it to your manager to present something to you so that you don't have to sit, for 2 or 3 hours and do it. Delegate it to an employee to present it to you, and then you approve it or not. Just a suggestion.
Yes, well, what I looked at, and I did spend quite a bit of time reading through it, trying to compare what was in this book, and it was mostly I don't know how you say it, verbiage change, changing superintendent to supervisor, stuff like that.
Right. But, for example, you could include,
Not major
Right.
changes.
you could include something like the way the discussion just went. In order to spend more than $5,000, the board needs to approve it. Those are just kind of housekeeping things that would help your board and the board in the next 10 years, would be helpful. And I hope that, you have staff that could draft it for you, so you just have to read the draft and approve it or not. Not sit and do it yourself. I wouldn't suggest that.
Well, and I think that would give you guys more information, and coming and sitting in this meeting and everyone's talking at you guys, it would give you more information to just have, instead of being like, I don't know.
Does the board sign off on the annual budget? We sign off on the annual budget, it's just, is it itemized?
Yeah, it is, isn't it, Tom? Pretty much.
No.
Can I ask what the annual budget is?
We're not signing off like the town and village, we sign off on payroll,
Yeah.
and vendors, stuff like that, and I've never done that.
Can I ask what the annual budget is? No? Nope.
You know what roughly our annual budget is, Tom?
I'm going to throw out 9 million, thereabouts, 8 plus, yeah.
And still in the reserves, we have about 3 million, I think that was said
Yep.
last. What do we think about a board of 5? How do we feel about that? Is that something
You have to change the charter.
you would have to
I've already
change?
asked about that, Shane.
You have asked about
Because I'm all
that?
for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lawyer said it was hard chartered in.
It's what?
It's hard chartered in.
It's hard once it's in
Yeah.
to change that.
Might be looking a little bit forward, but, you know, the conversation about joining the town and village, you got, do you have any idea how that may affect the electric department? Or how that,
I think that's something
Functionally
the
will
town and
have-
village has to
Sure.
legally go through.
yeah,
I don't know,
do you think it's
we're
worth?
set up kind of separate,
Yeah,
the electric is. So I've had questions about that myself.
yeah, definitely. So I'm wondering if some of those things, or if looking into that may start to consolidate some of these other issues, or may change it, I'm not sure, but how you start looking into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at this point, even though you're a ratepayer, you have Ludlow Electric, but you're not in the village, you can't run for the board,
Can't even vote.
you can't vote for anything. Just, even though you have Ludlow Electric, it's only people of the village that are allowed to vote or run for the board.
That's correct.
Okay. So as far as merging them, you said that's a legal thing? Bob? And actually, is anybody taking the minutes today? Okay.
You're better at technology than me.
First got the TV.
So again, though, it's a legal situation, merging the town and the village?
I don't know, I think Bob has the answer. Give the answer.
Say that again.
It's a legal, sorry, it's a legal thing as far as merging the town and the village?
Yeah, and a vote,
It'll come to a vote?
yeah.
Okay, is that something we can go forward with, put on?
That's select board and trustees.
That's select board and trustees, okay. So that's something we bring to them and they can make the decision, okay.
It's getting worked on.
Okay. What are we doing as far as, because the state's trying to go green, correct? As far as electric departments and such. I looked up some information that Green Mountain is at 18 kilowatts and Ludlow Electric's at 13. As far as going green, is that something we're pushing forward on, or,
Yes.
and how are we doing that?
Hopefully a solar field with Magris.
Solar field, what?
Solar field with Magris.
Is that something we're
That'd be great.
moving towards or
Signed a lease this week, today.
today?
Land lease?
Lease to put the solar field on their property.
Where is that property?
Field going up the hill. East Hill.
What hill?
East Hill Road.
East Hill Road,
Okay.
on the right.
What's the payoff in terms of time on something like that for what we put into it, just roughly? Like, are we looking at 10, 20-year payoff?
Typically a 20 year.
20? And the infrastructure is rated for what?
Right around 20-ish. Yeah, it's
Guess it makes us green,
exactly.
keeps people happy.
And hopefully a decent power rate for us. Yeah.
Why do we anticipate that'll drop our rate or help with our rate?
Help
if we
with the
produce
cost of our
enough?
power.
Okay, so it's not just a complete washout,
Right.
then we will
Right.
get something out of it, okay.
Yeah.
aside from feeling good.
Where's our staff at this point? How many first class, second class, third class linemen do we have right now?
Two first class?
Yep.
2 for first class, second class,
None.
none, third class,
2.
2.
Can I ask a question? How long does it take, the first class guy's gotta work for so long before he's first class here, or how's?
Is it testing or just or just written hours that,
Talking about the new guy, or
Yeah, the new guy.
we're just feeling him out right now, and as soon as one of my chief linemen says he's good to go,
I mean, I'm sure it's gonna take him a while to learn our system.
yeah.
To answer that, Bob, I believe it's 8,000 hours for a first class lineman, or, yeah, 8,000 hours to get in.
Yeah, he's already done that. We hired him, but he's not considered first class here yet.
Okay, I was under the assumption he only had 3,500 hours so far.
Well, I had no idea.
I have no idea either.
Okay, I believe it's 8,000 hours that they have to have in order to be first class. And that's a 4-year program prior to that 8,000 hours, right?
Yeah, he was in the union with the last place he worked,
Mhm.
and I don't think the union has got his hours forwarded to the Department of Labor yet, so there's kind of a transition there. He's done it, but it hasn't got recorded yet.
He's 22. 22 years old.
You know more than I do.
4 years. Yeah. So he's got the 4-year program, and he has to have 8,000 hours. Is he here?
No.
No, okay. How about any of the linemen, are any of them here?
Ryan, I see him here.
Right.
Brett's here.
Brett's here. Calvin's not because he's in an interview with another company.
Don't know.
Yep,
You know more than I do.
I do. Sometimes. Calvin's in an interview with another company, so that's a good chance we're losing him.
Don't know.
Don't know? Okay.
has he had any
Quick question,
communication?
Brad. So you said there's a lineman that we hired for a first-class lineman that doesn't have enough hours to be a first-class lineman?
Well, that's what I'm understanding. Caleb, is that the new hire?
Correct.
Caleb's the new hire? Just reading over my notes here. So we've hired him as a first class. He needs 8,000 hours in 4-year program. But we don't know if he's,
He said he was first class when he came to work for us.
okay, he said,
That's right.
and we've done a
Now
background.
we've done a background check on it with Department of Labor, and the Department of Labor says he only has
500,
3,500.
yeah.
Since then, I've talked to him about it. He's provided me with a tally sheet from his past employer.
Mhm.
We forwarded that to Department of Labor to get him certified.
Okay. And then there's like a letter that'll say, he's now certified, they'll send you a letter, he's certified as a first-class lineman. And so, and then, so he's the new hire. Who else is the first class?
Jeff?
Jeff? Just Jeff?
Brett?
Brett?
No.
Brett's not a first class.
How is that?
He doesn't have the training. We found that out talking to the Department of Labor.
Yet there's a letter from the state saying he does.
There was a letter that said within our company, you could consider him first class, but he's not
Because
legally
Howard-
first class through the Department of Labor.
because Howard was doing the training, in-house training.
Right.
So there's a letter from the state that says he's a first-class
No.
lineman. No.
There's a letter from the states that said he is not.
Can you provide us with those letters?
Yeah.
No, and that's because of formal training, not for
Exactly.
certification of hours.
Exactly. Got the hours for sure. So we're trying to get that straightened out through training.
He's got the hours, but he needs training,
Yep.
which is,
Courses, tests,
Classroom time.
courses, tests. We may be able to get around some of it through NEPA. NEPA's got a program. They'll come in and do an assessment. They're an accredited company that does this. And if we can get that assessment done and it's favorable, some of that training would be forfeited.
So they can do a practical assessment
Yeah.
on time on the job correlating into education.
So we're working on that. Have been all day today.
If we can do that with him, is there a way to do that with some of the other guys? So we might be able to bump some of them up?
Brian as well.
Same thing.
Yep,
I think we've got on-the-job time. Can we get this out of it?
yep. So I'm going with that stuff, yeah.
I have questions about dig safe. Can you give me the definition of what that is?
Such as dig safe in
It's
general.
something, the last meeting you said you were in charge of dig safe,
Yeah.
which is,
If somebody calls in a dig safe, they call into dig safe, they send a request letter to go out and mark underground power.
underground
Underground power
power.
or any other utility.
And so you're in charge of that?
Mhm.
So you go and you initialize them and you take the photos and you're in charge of that?
Well, right now, Ryan does that for the department primarily. And I go out and help Ryan when he needs help.
And Ryan's a third-class lineman?
Yep.
And that's acceptable to have a third-class lineman doing the dig safe?
Yep.
So essentially, Ryan's in charge of it, or you just oversee it?
I oversee him. Yep.
You oversee it?
Yep.
How often do you go out on them?
Whenever he calls and has something he can't find, I get there as soon as I can.
Damn, people making all that noise up there.
Okay, how many projects have gotten done since this last meeting, in the last month?
A lot of flood work.
Yeah.
A lot of flood work. I get it. I just think it's time for someone to, like, take accountability for the organization at this point. You know, there's a lot of questions, a lot of people are here, they care. It's time to start. I just feel like every meeting we've come and it's just, we're tabling that. We'll get to that.
I have to agree with Shannon. You know, the meeting 2 months ago, there were, 20 people here. Last month, nearly 40. And we could have easily filled this room with 50, 60, maybe more. I mean, people are very concerned about what's happening here. And I know you guys, I mean, we all appreciate your volunteerism, the work that you do, but, you know, the suggestions that are put out there, people want to see some results, we want to see something done. They're very concerned about it. Ludlow Electric, it's a great company.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, we're 4 meetings later. And, I mean, we haven't dealt with the pay rate, and I understand the union and all that, the wage increase or,
I hope the correlation,
I was gonna bring that up this meeting, and I said that last meeting, but I'm told I can't do that, so.
I just hope the correlation of some of the decisions the board's made, in-house, out-of-house, and the attendance of the meeting kind of sinks in that, see, it's not so many of the issues, but certain ones that make us pay attention to the rest of the issues.
right, it's bringing up other issues, yeah.
So would I make a motion to make that weekly? Is that what I would do?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
It gives you more information, so you're not coming in here blind.
Well, I'll make a motion to have a weekly budget.
Yeah.
Is it on the agenda?
No.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So we'll warn it for next month.
I think if
It's a
you're gonna do
point of
that-
order, it's just,
I think, yeah. Who makes the
in a
agenda?
regular meeting, you can't
You can't
take any
vote on
action unless
things
it's,
not warned.
thanks.
But
Step
we
one.
can put it on the agenda for next time.
Okay.
And who does make the agenda?
Well, I think Tom does it, but then he just sends it to us to sign off on.
Okay.
No,
So that's
there's-
something, yeah.
It's always better to have things on the agenda that you might have action on. You don't have to take action on, but it's there if you want to.
Okay.
So Tom, back to you. You are on the board, is it
I represent Ludlow
on
for
Val,
the VEPSA board.
VEPS
member.
board. And so any employee that is, say, you're an employee of town of Ludlow, they give you an option to be on the board there. Is that why we have gone with them, and were they the best?
Actually, Ludlow was instrumental in the start of VEPSA back in the 80s or whenever it was. It's been continued since then.
So when we put out bids, they had the best bid
When we put out bids for what?
for the AIM and
The
the
AMI,
AI?
that was done by VEPSA solely for the members.
They do the bidding, correct?
Okay. All right. And now you don't have to be a board member, but they give you the option to be.
Somebody has to represent Ludlow,
Somebody has to be on the board.
yes.
Why is it that, just out of curiosity, why is it that you make the agenda versus a board member?
The board members make the agenda. I just type the agenda.
He types it up, he sends it out. If we have something we want to
Add to it. Okay.
then we get back from him.
Okay.
Does every municipality that's represented in VESPA today have a vote
Yes.
And is that based on a percentage vote? Like if Ludlow is 13% vested of overall with them, do we have a 13% vote, or is it just?
Yeah, it's an unanimous vote, 11 members.
Okay.
Just like you got 3 here, you need at least 2.
Brian, a question for, or maybe a question for you, Tom, I'm not sure. So when you're receiving emails, Brian, what email address is that under?
It's bbenoit@ludlowelectric.com.
Not B. Sanderson at Ludlow Electric?
Nope.
Because it shows that online that you're getting all of his emails under his email address, not yours.
They still haven't changed that on the website.
Is Brett, does he have access to his email?
No.
Why is that?
Because he's not the foreman anymore.
So wouldn't it behoove us to have that changed? Because it's showing you're getting all of his emails.
Yeah, I'm not.
Or, but you can look through his previous emails.
Shannon, where is that?
I saw it online somewhere today. Oh, it was in one of, my heavens. Would it have been under the Ludlow Electric?
Under the Ludlow Electric website?
I think so. It says your name, but it has Brett Sanderson's email underneath it.
Mhm.
Okay.
B. Sanderson.
I have to look into that, I didn't know that.
But he can't have access to his email?
No. He stepped down from being the foreman.
Okay.
He's a lineman.
He's a lineman. What class?
We'd like to think he's first class, but he's not, according to the Department of Labor.
And that's because Howard had done the training in-house?
Yes.
But Howard also trained you in-house, right? So
Same-
you're a
same problem, Same
foreman.
problem.
You're a foreman, not a lineman.
So that would hold you, the only thing holding you back is the class hours. You have all the actual work hours, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You in class?
Nope.
No, I know I heard one of you guys mention something, you didn't know that Caleb was at another meeting. That being said, when he does come back, you guys gonna ask him why? Say we heard that you're looking at other sources of work, how come? Just to get the feedback from him?
I thought she said Kelvin.
Or Calvin, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do that,
Really, that's his personal business.
Yeah.
I mean,
particularly now that
he
James
wants to
called.
share that.
I don't know if I can do
share
that legally, Steve.
How do we find out if we can? Because that's the best feedback you can get, is right from the horse's mouth. Hey, how come you're looking at an old place?
I mean, that's a legal
Yeah.
question right now. I mean, our hands are really tied right now with this
And
this
I understand you gotta
negotiation.
err on the side of caution.
Yeah, it's, have to be very careful. Don't get me wrong, I'd like to know.
Like I said, I think the best thing you can get is firsthand
Yeah.
feedback from somebody, but like you said, it's that gray area you gotta be careful of and err
Yeah.
on the side of caution.
So you said that Brett stepped down as foreman?
Yes.
Was that out of frustration, or? I mean, what was the reason?
He's right there, ask him.
Brett, what was the reason why you stepped
I had
down
no support from the board.
in trying to do your job?
Yeah, just to bring stuff to their attention.
Did you make that clear to the board, or?
Oh, yeah.
Was it this board, or was it?
Yeah, no.
Was it the
All other
previous?
than George. George is the only one that's new to it.
So,
You guys hearing that, what's your
lack of
response?
support to the man that was running the show, or?
Uh,
I mean, he was back and forth with them. I don't
I
know.
tried, he'd call me up, I'd go see him.
Mhm.
And I check into what his complaints were. I have 2 men here. And they both have valid points, and they both had a different viewpoint. And I don't know what you think I should have done about that.
Well,
He
get to
says
the bottom of
once-
it, right?
How do you get to the bottom? He said, he said.
So you're getting 2 different stories?
Yeah. And I honestly don't know what to do about that. I'm not an investigative person.
Sure.
I'm not a legal person. I did my best to find out Brett's complaints. And I'd bring them to Tom, or I would try to find out what Tom's version of the thing was. And personally, I think it's pretty unfortunate that it worked out the way it did. And I'm sorry Brett feels that way.
How would you have liked to have seen it work out?
I would have liked to seen these 2 guys talk together like adults.
Did you guys ever bring them, I heard you say you've got each person's version. Did you bring them together to a meeting with you guys where you had everybody
Did not.
together? Because it's a lot easier to say things when it's not face-to-face or things to get obscured or
I
derailed.
mean, we would have them in executive sessions and ask them point blank.
You have or you would?
Separately?
Oh, okay.
Separately or together?
Together.
Together? Okay.
Did we move forward on looking at the superintendent position? Is that something, because like we said in the handbook, board, superintendent, office manager,
Yeah.
is how it is stated in the handbook. Have we looked forward on having a superintendent?
I don't know what the other board members think. I'm not in favor.
So you're in favor of having the office manager, the board, and then a foreman? Is that what you're saying? You'd prefer that versus?
Just from prior experiences I had working for other companies.
What's the downfall of having a superintendent?
Then you have 2 people that make the decisions. The foreman is in charge of the people in the field. Tom doesn't want anything to do with that. Or the supervisor, whatever you want to call him. I want one guy I can go to that's almost always in the office. And he's the one paying the bills. And that's the way I think a business should run.
What that could be the superintendent.
The way I saw it in this book was superintendent and then office manager, and then the board at the top.
Yeah, the book shows board, superintendent, office manager, foreman, and down. So you think it makes more sense just to deal with one person versus have 2
To me.
working it out together
They weren't working it out together.
clearly? That's why we're all here.
So you don't look at it as superintendent and foreman working under the superintendent in the field? think the next person in line is the office manager?
Just because Tom's taking calls every day. Tom is paying the bills. And he's working with Brett. They go look at jobs together. Goes with Brian. That's my personal opinion. These guys can decide for themselves.
But the handbook
The handbook
states
states,
clearly.
which, when I came online, and Earl was still here, and I got elected in, Earl always brought up that we needed to change the flow chart, because that was decided before I got here, that it should be that way.
But was it ever
It
adopted?
never got changed in the book.
It didn't get changed in the book.
No.
Did
When I
it
first
get changed in the
came
book?
on board, I was told that we had two separate entities, one the outside and one the office, okay? And they were entirely separate. So I was quite surprised when Tom reprimanded somebody in the field. How did that happen? That means to me that they aren't equally separate. Why did he have the right to do that? That should have been a decision of the board.
Tom,
And I'm not saying Tom did anything wrong. I think he did everything right, and he had the authority to reprimand somebody in another department. Did he?
he did.
Okay, so what?
And that whole thing was with OSHA because of the injury that we had. And we asked Brett to give the other employee a reprimand, and he wouldn't do it. So we then had to go to Tom to get it done.
And that was because you didn't have three linemen? I understand somebody got hurt, but we're supposed to have three linemen on every job, correct?
As far as
Two
I'm understanding.
linemen on each job?
Well, it depends on what the job is.
Right,
It depends on the wattage of the pole, right? Or the,
where they're working.
yeah.
If they're too close to that higher line, then they need to be three.
Right, and so I was, and I could be wrong, but I understand
There's a lot of
that
stuff two
Ludlow,
guys can go out and do.
but I understand that Ludlow, all of the poles are at that certain wattage that you're supposed to have three. That's what I was under the
Certain level-
assumption of.
Certain level up on the pole. There's other stuff they can do on it that's not close to that.
But typically, you guys are sending out 1 to 2 people, never 3, very rarely 3, correct?
It all depends on the job.
It depends on the job.
And the
But it
staff
also
on hand.
depends on the pole,
Yep,
right? And it depends on, is it kilowatts? Is that right?
voltage.
Voltage. So with all the poles in this town, from what I understand, are at that voltage level that you're supposed to have 3 linemen,
Majority,
majority.
yep.
Okay, yet we're sending 2 most of the time. And that's because we don't have enough employees, or we don't have the right certifications, or we're just kind of ignoring it and throwing it under the rug, or,
We're not ignoring anything. We're just trying to do the best we can with what we have.
okay.
That's why we're trying to hire more help.
Yeah. But without
So are we
the,
legally supposed to have 3 guys on most of all these jobs that we're sending 2 to? And if we are, isn't that
Legally, no,
crazy?
but by our
Crazy.
handbook.
That's according to the handbook.
Okay.
That's what's in there.
Those are our personal rules, not according to VOSHA. VOSHA would allow a 2-man crew to do most of the jobs that we're sending out on.
Yep.
Not to use VOSHA as an example, but
Yeah, no.
it's a reference.
Yeah.
Bob, wouldn't the final say in that, in any of those matters, be this board, we would make the final decision.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, I would think. You've got the guy that knows the inside, you've got a guy that knows the outside. When the two of those can't come to it, that's when it should be going to you guys. Right?
Bob, can I see that handbook?
I have some notes in there.
I'm not interested in your notes. Thank you.
Written on the sides.
Thought you said you weren't interested, you were looking pretty hard now.
What's that?
Said I thought you weren't interested, you're looking pretty hard now.
This is what I
Yeah.
was speaking of, but, yeah.
So this is the chart that, and at the top, it's the 3 elected officials, Board of Commissioners. On the right, Superintendent on charge of the line department. And on the other side, General Manager, the business office, which is the way it's been for, I don't know how many, ever. How long ago were you on the board originally, George?
How long ago?
Yeah, can you remember?
Don't even ask, but Howard was the superintendent, and Howard Barton was, of course,
Right.
in charge. And actually, at that time, Dean Brown was the office manager, but he stuck strictly to office affairs. He didn't have anything to do with the outside. But Howard was the superintendent.
It's, what was that, like 100 years ago?
Something like that.
I don't know, you mean,
No, but
60s, 1960s, 70s?
It was easy.
It was easy.
Just like I said to somebody, I said, comments from citizens. That meeting we had like 30, and all the time I was on the board, we didn't have any, none.
Right.
Yeah, any comments from citizens.
They haven't done by that book for 70 years.
Mm.
You guys know that.
Thank you.
You know, if I was to recommend a superintendent who would have, lineman and experienced, it wouldn't affect this guy's job. He would be a foreman like he is now, and everything else would be the same, wouldn't be anything. Something that could be considered.
We could put that on the thing next month, too.
So what are we gonna put on for next month's agenda?
Like structure,
Structure,
I don't know what correct verbiage, structure.
once a month, or once a week, updates on
No,
budget?
the-
We're gonna do
Weekly,
that, but maybe
like
we'll do,
warrant
yeah.
orders,
Yeah,
weekly
okay.
expenditures, sign off on.
Yeah.
But no matter what, I believe the department should be entirely separate. And if there was an issue that crossed the line somewhere, it would be a decision of this board to make. There's no reason for, anything from the outside to be considered here on the inside that I can see. That would be a decision of this board.
I agree, that takes the power out of one person making the decision. If you've got two people that can independently make the decision, not come to terms, then it's going to the board and you're having a forum,
Right.
and it's discussed.
So Nick, what are your thoughts on superintendent?
I have to do some thinking, George.
Pardon?
I have to do some thinking.
We gotta put it on, we gotta warn it.
You would be in favor of it?
We have to
Then we'll
warn it
talk about
first,
it.
George.
Yeah, oh, I see.
Right?
Absolutely.
You have a solid grasp of Robert's rules, so I'm just checking.
Well, and again, that's why, I mean, as far as Robert's rules goes, a board of 5 is really the best way to do that. And so, I know we brought that up right in the beginning, but that's something you said,
Well, I already asked the lawyer about that.
you asked the lawyer about that. So that's something we look into.
Well, it's open meeting law, so whatever action is taken, it's been warned, there's been public notice. People have the opportunity to come and hear what's going on. And it's democracy, it's all in the vein of transparency.
Which we are trying really hard to do.
I think it'd be great, guys.
Is that it for comments? Anybody else have any comments?
I think Tom's, from what I hear, has done a pretty good job in the office. I hear a number of people giving him compliments of things that he's done. And I hear the same thing, and have witnessed it about Brett since Howard Barton has left, and what kind of job he's done in the field. And I think in the handbook, since it's always been those two entities separate, and it's always worked, even though these two may not get together and be best buddies, I think if you merge those somehow, make one person in charge of both, I think you're muddying the waters and you're leading to problems down the line. Tom admitted last meeting that he knows very little about what goes on in the field. And I'm sure Brett, whoever is running the field office, doesn't know a lot about purchasing power and administrative duties and things like that. I just think it should be back the way it was. And if there is a conflict, it should come to you three guys.
100% agree. You know, it's what people do best. You're an inside guy or an outside guy. It's what you know. And when the two can't come to something, that's why we have you. You guys got to listen to them.
Well, and again, George, like you said, there wasn't citizens' comments ever. I mean, I think in all the history of Ludlow Electric, the last 4 meetings, everyone's just been like, da, 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 da,
The
da.
first time we ever had to come to a town hall for a
So,
meeting.
right. So I think, like, I gotta give you guys props. I mean, honestly, this isn't an easy job, right? The situation you're in. But again, like you said, having 2 people, if they can't come to a decision, the accountability ends up on the board. And that's what you're hired for.
Sorry for the tire tracks on your back, but yeah.
All right, I guess now we'll act on the minutes of August 23rd, special meeting.
Just to, Yeah, I'd make a motion to accept the minutes from this special meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
There's another one there. Did we have 2? Had one on the 24th, too? Is that right, Tom?
Yes.
Okay, I don't remember it either.
I act on the minutes of August 24th.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
All in
second.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Who has it assigned?
It's 2 pages in there.
The second one's right here.
I got it.
All right, the foreman's report.
September 23. Streetlight maintenance, we finished the Proctorsville LED upgrade. Meter reading has started today. Continue on with monthly substation checks. We had 41 underground locates this month. Still multiple services upgrades, 3 service cover-ups. 103 project, hopefully we'll get a quote this week from a contractor. Line trimming will be starting October 2nd, still depending on traffic control. This month's safety meeting was chainsaw safety, and vehicle maintenance is ongoing. FR clothing started showing up, the rest should be here soon, within a week or so. The new fuel tanks came today, should be about 2 weeks for the rest of the stuff to show up to finish the fuel farm.
Thanks, Brian. The manager's report.
Well, light departments continue to work with the flood victims. That takes quite a bit of our time still. Update on the Okemo snowmaking project. As you know, the light department's been working with Okemo to get the electric compressors project in place for ski season 2024. It was announced earlier this month that with all the flood damage that occurred this summer, Okemo is putting that project on hold until 2025-26 season. As I said before, Magris update. The lease for the solar project was signed today. We're moving forward with that project. GIS program. Lake Department has signed the software package with NISC for the GIS program. And we're waiting for the final documents to get back so that we can do the implementation of the GIS. Last week, the department had a meeting with Velco. They told us that in 2024, they would be running fiber in Ludlow for the department use. This line would be a utility-only designated line, and it will enable Velco to report Ludlow's load to ISO New England, as required by the PUC. The line could also be used by the department to connect to NISC Cloud. This would be a much faster connection than we have now, and it would be a very high security level. And also a favorable monthly fee, so that's good for Ludlow. The department hired a new employee this month. He's a graduate of the Southeast Lineman Training Center in Trenton, Georgia. His GPA was 95. He's living in Mount Holly, or will be. His name is Gabe Miller, and the department welcomes him to the team. Any questions?
How did you come across him?
Indeed. Indeed.
In need?
Indeed.
I don't know what that is.
That's like a
Acronym?
monster, like a hiring.
Oh, okay. Great.
Online hiring.
So we're moving forward with the mapping.
Yes.
What is our monthly cost on that now, considering what it
We're
was?
at- We don't pay anything now. We got out of the Vepsa one.
Right.
This is gonna be a $23,000 upfront fee and a little over $600 a month for software support.
Freaking bargain.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Because that's good.
All right, other business.
Yeah, read that.
The IBEW petition seeking to become the exclusive bargaining representative of certain employees of the department.
So I make a motion to find that premature general public knowledge of the department counsel's analysis of a legal issue could clearly place the department at a substantial disadvantage because the department will receive confidential attorney-client communications made for the purposes of providing professional legal services to the department. Need a second.
I'll second. I don't know what it means, but I'll second it.
You can tell a lawyer wrote that. We gotta go.
All right, all in favor?
Yeah,
Aye.
So now I make a motion to enter into executive session with the inclusion of the department manager, department counsel, and the foreman.
All second.
Yeah,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
aye.